Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Star Flames and we're back with another video. In this video guys, we're gonna talk about Sean Kingston getting off lightly on his wire fraud sentencing, or at least that's what I believe, in comparison to what he was looking at before, because Sean Kingston has now been sentenced to 42 months in prison for wire fraud. Now, before this, you guys know that he was looking at facing up to 100 years, but to be doing 42 months, I think he needs to be really grateful, because you guys know that is 3.5 years, and for some prison sentencing, they may count day and night, and if he's on good behavior and all of that jazz, you know, he can be out in 1.5 years or 2 years. But normally, when they are handed a sentence, they are given a minimum term that they have to serve. There's no update as yet as to what the minimum term that he has to serve in this sentencing. Now, as you guys know, this is basically what his lawyer was aiming at, because initially when his lawyers were arguing his sentencing, they were basically asking that he does 2 years behind bars. However, he's now at 3.5 years. As you guys can remember, Sean Kingston was convicted of federal wire fraud back in March along with his mom, Janice Turner. I don't know what's up with these mom, and for some reason, they always have the name Janice. You know, Sean Diddy Combs, Janice Combs, and now Janice Turner. I don't know why these women encourage and enable their sons into bad behavior, but I think that this moment in history is very telling that oftentimes when we see men not doing better, always remember that there's an enabler behind such guy, and oftentimes that enabler is the woman that gave birth to them. Now, as it relates to his mom has been sentenced to 5 years behind bars. Now, it is said that he faced up to 6 years of incarceration, but his lawyer asked the judge for leniency earlier this week, citing Sean's squeaky clean record and numerous good works in the community. His team specifically pointed out that he didn't just donate money, he got out there and put in long hours helping people less fortunate than himself. Typical Jamaican behavior. Sometimes we can be really helpful, but at times, you know, people do fall off the rails. And that's just Jamaican, but Jamaicans are known to be kind, not necessarily nice, but kind. You will always see a Jamaican being kind. You may not see them being nice, but they will not leave you stranded if they can help. They will curse you out and they'll tell you what's on their mind. But if you're in need, you best believe they're going to come back to offer you a helping hand. So definitely nothing strange there coming from Sean Kingston. Now they're saying his lawyer wanted between 2 and 2.5 years, while prosecutors were hoping for a sentence closer to the max. It seems the judge basically met both parties halfway, so 3.5 years. Now he still needs to pay back the money to the victims of his crime, and his lawyers asked for home confinement so he can do so with possible music profits going to those he hurt. Sean and Janice were accused of swindling businesses out of more than $1 million in a fraud scheme involving jewelry, luxury, vehicles, and other goods. The two were convicted of falsely claiming they sent the money transfer for goods, then keeping the goods even after it was revealed the transfer did not go through. Well, that's the scheme that they are behind bars for. But the question is, and what is very concerning, is that his attorney, while I understand what his attorney is arguing for him to do home confinement, because the attorney is saying that he needs to be able to work to pay the money back. And I definitely understand that. But sometimes you have to look at these things from a fair point of view, because oftentimes when you see an individual is asking for home confinement, you know that in the celebrity world, in the celebrity culture, home confinement is oftentimes given to them instead of prison sentencing. And when it comes to, white collar criminals, because in this case, this is what it is classified as, because once he did not inflict any violence on an individual, it falls in the category of white collar criminal. White collar criminal, the sentencing can be really lenient. So it is possible that he may be granted home confinement instead of doing time behind bars. We've seen this happening so many times with celebrities. So this may be one of those cases. Now, they're saying that also once he serves his time, he'll have to meet the conditions of his supervised release. He has to refrain from any unlawful use of a controlled substance, and he's required to submit to DNA testing by his probation officer, who's allowed to visit Sean at his house or anywhere else at any time. Sean Kingston also got to work a lawful job for at least 30 hours every week. So he's set to face the judge again on October 16th for a hearing about repaying his victims, which means that he's going to have to come up with an action plan, and his attorney is going to between him and his attorney, he's going to brainstorm, whatever resources that are available to him. It includes his catalog, royalties, and all of that. So they're going to explore all of that. And then from that, they're going to present to the court a repayment plan to repay his victims. Now, this is the weird part about repayment plans under legalities, because if he's owing, let's say, $1 million, in this case, because it is $1 million as the report states, right? So in this case, he can basically say to the court, you know what, $1 million, I can only afford to pay $50,000 over the next 10 or 20 years. And if evidence should prove that he's not able to pay more than that, that is something that his victims will have to settle for. And that is why sometimes when it comes to these cases, people really don't take legal actions, because you can use Tasha K and Cardi B's lawsuit, for example. Remember, Tasha K went through the entire bankruptcy thing, and then she's paying Cardi B a small amount over a lengthy ass period. So in his case, it's going to be really interesting to hear the repayment plan on this. And this is why, some people really don't bother taking actions, because it can be really exhausting and drawn out. But I do hope that in good faith, he will come up with a plan where he can repay the amount in the shortest time frame possible, so he can move on with his life and not have this negativity attached to him any further. And also, the next thing is that I do hope that Sean Kingston and his mom has learned their lesson. Life is too short for people to be consciously making bad choices and finding themselves on the wrong side of the law. But that's all I have to share in this video with you guys. Let me know what's your take, what's your opinion. Providing you have an opinion, leave it below. While you're at it, do all you need to support your girl. Peace.